Hello dear students. Today we will be talking in details about chapter 5, that is working of institutions. In the previous chapter, when the introduction of the chapter has already been given to you, I hope now it is clear to you that in this chapter we are going to talk about the working process and the structure of legislature, executive and judiciary. Now, governing a country involves various activities, and that we have already understood in class 8 also, that the government is responsible for ensuring security to the citizen, providing facilities for education and health. Several arrangements are made in the modern democratic country to attend these tasks. Such arrangements are called institutions. Now, here we will be starting up this chapter with very one important example, that is about a memorandum. Now, if you refer to the page number 79 of your book, you can see that a memorandum has been given on this page. So, on August 13, 1990, the government of India issued an order. It was called an office memorandum. This was an official order. So like all government order, this also had a number, the date of published. The joint secretary, an officer in the Department of Personnel and Training in the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pension, he signed the order. And it was quite short. Okay. Now, this order announced a major policy decision. What was it? It said that 27% of the vacancies in civil post and services under the government of India are reserved for the socially and educationally backward classes, that is SEBC. SEBC is another name for all those people who belong to caste that are considered backward by the government. Now, the benefit of job reservation was still then available only to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Now, a new third category called SEBC was introduced. Only persons who belonged to backward caste were eligible for the quota of 27% jobs. Others could not compete for these jobs. Now children, here we will refer back to class 8 when we studied about the Mandal Commission and how BP Mandal introduced reservations for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people. And later on, we also studied in class 8 in details about the forming of Mandal Commission and how the decision taken by the Mandal Commission was implemented. We also learnt about the reservations and quotas given to other backward classes as well. Now, this order was surplus to those reservations. Means already scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people were getting quota system and reservations were there. But this 27% of reservations were in the government jobs, and specifically people who belong to the backward classes can only apply to this. Now here we have to understand one more thing, that who were the decision makers of for passing on such a huge order. So who decided to issue this memorandum? So it was very clear when we read about it, and now as we all know that almost 130 crore people in the country, it is not a one person's job. So we can guess that such a major decision would have involved other major functionaries in our country. And we have already studied and read about in other classes about them. So let us quickly see that who all can be involved. President is the head of the state and is the highest formal authority in the country. And we will see also right after now that how they all are involved in taking up the decision. Prime Minister, who is the head of the government and actually exercises all governmental powers. He takes most of the decisions in the cabinet meetings. Parliament consists of two houses, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The Prime Minister must have the support of a majority of Lok Sabha members. So, were all these people involved in this decision? Let us quickly see that this office memorandum was the culmination of a long chain of events. How did it happen? How it was conceived and how it was implemented? The government of India had appointed the Second Backward Classes Commission in the year 1979, and it was headed by B.P. Mandal. Hence, it was popularly called Mandal Commission. I just want to keep in your knowledge that this we have already studied in detail in class 8. It was asked to determine the criteria to identify socially and educationally backward classes in India and recommend steps to be taken for their advancement. The commission gave its report in the year 1980, after 1 year, and made many recommendations. One of these was 27% of government jobs be reserved for socially and educationally backward classes. The report and recommendations were discussed also in the Parliament. I repeat, the report and recommendations were discussed in the Parliament. Now, for several years, many parliamentarians and parties kept demanding the implementation of Commission's recommendation. What is that? 27% of reservation. Then came the Lok Sabha election, which was in the year 1989. In its election manifesto, the propaganda and the policy, Janata Dal promised that if they come to power, if they get maximum of the vote, it will implement Mandal Commission's report. Then Janata Dal did form the government because they won. And the leader of Janata Dal, V.P. Singh, became the Prime Minister. Then several developments once he became the Prime Minister took place. Now the President of India, in his address to the Parliament, announced the intention of the government to implement the recommendations of Mandal Commission. What we spoke about now? Whom? The President. Then, on 6th August 1990, the Union Cabinet took a formal decision to implement the recommendations. Who? The Union Cabinet. Next day, Prime Minister V.P. Singh informed the Parliament about this decision through a statement in both the Houses of Parliament. Who? The Prime Minister. And at last, the decision of the Cabinet was sent to the Department of Personnel and Training. The senior officers of the department drafted an order in line with the Cabinet decision and took the minister's approval. Who? The senior officer of the Cabinet. An officer signed the order on behalf of the Union government, and this is how this memorandum was born on 13th of August 1990. For the next few months, this was the most hotly debated issue in the country. Newspapers and magazines were full of different views and opinions on this issue. It led to the widespread protest and counter-protest, and some of which were even violent. People reacted strongly because decision affected thousands of job opportunities. What do we mean by this? Thousands of job opportunities because people, those who all are educationally strong and have scored mediocre marks or maybe good marks, but they do not belong to the backward class, so they will not be eligible for those 27% of reservation. So they will be losing the job. They will not get the job opportunity. Some felt that existence of inequalities among people of different caste in India will develop, will be practiced, because people will definitely have anguish against those who, in spite of getting lesser number of marks, will be getting jobs. They felt this would give, some of them, they felt this will give fair opportunity to those communities who so far had not adequately been represented in government employment. But on the other hand, some felt that this was unfair, as it would deny equality of opportunity, which we know that even the preamble talks about. So they would be denied jobs even though they could be more qualified. Some felt that this would perpetuate caste feelings. Some people felt that it will hamper the national unity. So all these disputes, the violent dispute and the silent dispute which was going on, who do you think that must have resolved this dispute? We know that the Supreme Court and the High Courts in India, they settle the disputes. So similarly, some person and associations opposed this order filed a number of cases in the courts. They appealed to the court to declare the order invalid. Now, Supreme Court of India bunched all these cases together. This case was known, also given a name, and 11 judges of the Supreme Court heard all the arguments, both sides. Okay, and by a majority, the Supreme Court judges in the year 1992, you see, after 2 years, declared that this order of the government of India was valid. At the same time, the Supreme Court asked the government to modify its original order. What was the original order? The original order says that 27% of reservation for vacancies in the civil post and services under the government of India are to be reserved for socially and educationally backward classes. Now, what are a little bit changes the court made? It said that well-to-do persons among the backward classes should be excluded from getting the benefit of reservation. So accordingly, the Department of Personnel and Training issued another office memorandum, which was the final one, on September 8, 1993. The dispute thus came to an end, and this policy has been followed since then. So we have seen now and understood that a decision in a country was taken up by a group of people sitting in the parliament. Then it was executed by the officer in charges, and then when there were dispute related to that decision or the order, then there were courts who came forward and they sorted out the dispute. Now the question comes that why do we need political institutions? We have seen one example of this, how the government is working. So governing a country involves various activities. For example, the government is responsible for ensuring security to the citizen, providing facilities for education, and also health to all. It collects taxes and spends the money thus raised on administration, defense, development programs, and many more. It formulates and implements several welfare schemes also. Some person have to take decision, isn't it? How to go about these activities. Now, when the decision has been taken, others have to implement these decisions. And if there are disputes which comes after the decisions are taken, or when they are implemented, there should be someone to determine what is right and what is wrong. It is important that everyone should know who is responsible for doing what. Now, if there are 3 stages which we have understood just now, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet are institutions that take all important policy decisions. What do we call them? This institution is called the legislature. The civil servants working together are responsible for taking steps to implement the minister's decision. They execute the decisions. Who are they? They are the executive. Supreme Court is an institution where disputes between citizens and the government are finally settled. Which institution is this? This is judiciary. Working with institution is not easy. Institutions involve rules and regulations. This can bind even the hands of leaders. Institutions involve meetings, committees, routines, and this often leads even to delays and complications. So much delay that even we as citizens, we get frustrated. One might feel that it is much better to have one person taking all the decisions without any rule, procedures, meeting. At times we do feel. But that is not the spirit of democracy. Some of the delays and complications introduced by the institutions are very useful. You can ask me how. They provide an opportunity for a wider set of people to be consulted in any decision. So institutions make it difficult to have a good decision taken very quickly. Many a times I have been telling you that many a times it happens. The decisions which at times we take up quickly are the wrong decisions. The decisions at times we ponder on, we think about it, we discuss it with others, and then we come to a right decision. But they also make it equally difficult to rush through a bad decision. That is why democratic government insists on institutions. Children, I think it is very clear to you all now that why do we need institutions. In the next classes, we will be talking in details about all the three institutions. Thank you so much and God bless you.